Today is March 2nd, 2026, and we are live here at the City of Camilla, and we are here at the Honorable Mayor Joe Haywood Council Chamber here at City Hall. I'd like to welcome our gallery and also welcome our council for our work session for the month of March. At this time, we'll go ahead and get started on our agenda for today. I'd like to give an approval of our agenda at this time.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's been motion and second. All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed, same sign. All right, that motion has passed. Now we're going to go ahead and go into our speaker appearance at this time. And I ask that if you come up, you have 3 minutes, state your name and where you reside, and we'll go from there. At this time, the floor is open for our speaker appearance.
Good evening. I'm Al Wynn with Quantum Development out of Atlanta. I'm local. I'm in Albany. My company, my partners, we're interested in developing the McNeil Building. And I think everybody's got a little handout. And I'll just read it really quick. 2-story government building with USDA wing, the bottom floor and leaving the top floor available for development. We have an understanding that the city would like to convert the second floor to condominiums or apartments. What we would like to know, is there a budget for pre-development funding? Has there been a unanimous decision to talk about this project? Will the tenants still be in the building as construction begins? Will we be required to bid on the project? Is the city going to manage the finished product, such as a landlord? We need to have a better understanding of the city's role with this project. And we're in a position to bring funding and development to get this project off the ground. We need to have a more exact understanding of where you want to go with the building. And so I will yield to any questions, and I'm done speaking.
Got one for you.
Sure.
What is your projected amount that you plan to contribute as a developer?
I'll have to get back with you on that. We've got all the figures, and we're very competitive. I'll say that. Very competitive. I can give everyone the exact figures on what this would take or what it would cost. But we're eager to get started. We're doing some projects in other cities, so that's very similar. The downtown projects right now are like wildfire. Everybody, every municipality wants to do it. And this is a win-win situation for the city. You get a lot of downtown traffic, and I think it would be a good deal for Camilla. Really enhance the downtown, and it will spur other projects also.
And then could you point us to some of those other communities? So just reference those.
Sylvester, working with the housing authority there. Let's see. We've done some stuff in Atlanta. I can give you contacts and all that, whatever you need. But we've been all over the Southeast. But anyway, we would like to work with you. So I'm going to sit down, and got any more questions, please let me know.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, appreciate you, Alan. All right.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Cassandra Nelson. I am here on behalf of INA Divine Purpose, INC, our local information and awareness initiative. Last year, a mother, Ms. Frederica Robertson, she's on the screen, experienced a tragedy no parent should ever face. On April 1st, 2025, she received a call that her 21-year-old son, Marquavius Bernard Brockton, had lost his life to nitazene poison. It's a synthetic opioid, so powerful that, and so unfamiliar that many families don't even know it exists until it's too late. His life was taken, a powerful synthetic opioid, so deadly and so unfamiliar that we're gonna try to incorporate that here in Southwest Georgia. But in the middle of that grief, she made a decision. His story would become a warning. His legacy would become a movement. From that decision, she created a mission where we can save lives. Mitchell County has an opportunity to stand together as a community and a county that chooses to educate and prepare youth, our parents, and our neighbors. We cannot wait until tragedy reaches another home. We must act now to protect our children and strengthen our community. That's why IMA partnered with her. On April the 11th, and we have the Form Here Partnership for Purpose. In our community, I live over off of Palmer. I want to incorporate this 5K walk in our community and educate our children. And I would like to also have a proclamation done here to help even keep the parents aware that there's a different opioid that is going around and just protect our community. In closing, this proclamation is more than a document. It is commitment. A commitment to protect our youth, to educate our parents, and to strengthen our community. Through INA Divine Purpose and our partnership with her, we are choosing prevention, awareness, and action. I respectfully ask for your support in recognizing April as Marquavius Bernard Broughton Awareness Month, so we can move forward together saving lives.
All right, thank you very much for that, Ms. Nelson, and for that awareness. If council agree with all in part of this, we would like to do a proclamation on behalf of the city of Camilla in support of that. And I see Mrs. Robinson on here. Do you have any words you would like to share with us, Ms. Robinson?
Yes, I would like to say a little bit. I'll give you a little bit more of the information on that nitazene. That nitazene is 40 times stronger than fentanyl, 800 times stronger than morphine. And my son just so happened to be the first confirmed death in Georgia. And with that death, when I closed the casket on him, I made a promise to him that I would keep his legacy alive by saving one life at a time. So I would thank you. I thank you all greatly and sincerely for giving us the opportunity to partner with you all down in Camilla. I visited this past weekend and I'm ready to paint Camilla purple and spread this awareness around in rural areas where there's less awareness.
Okay. Thank you once again, and our condolences goes out to you and your family as well, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Council, while on this right now, could we go ahead and have at least 3 council members to agree to have this proclamation done by next week? All right, thank you, council. All right.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. I got 2 questions pertaining to our users of the electricity you're going to the house. I'd like to know how much the rate you charge per kilowatt. That was one of the things. I heard that you said that the little get their electricity from the company. And I think they should know how much they charge them, and then pass it on to us, because we don't know how to use our electricity. One to like my microwave uses what 1,200 kilowatts every time they use. People know how to monitor it. My next question is the $3.10 that y'all charge for yard trim. Since I've been retired here 13 years ago, I haven't seen nobody trimming no yards in front of my house. And if you add that $3.10 per 1,000 people, that's over $3,000. Or that's per 1,000. And a whole year, that's $36,000. And I would like to know, where is that going? I don't have the money to donate. I don't have money to donate. And I like to know, I have not received the service. So what is I'm paying for? That's the second person. You know, because I like to itemize my stuff. When I go in there at the grocery store, I see bananas, 57 cents a pound, potato, 36 cents a pound. That's what we live for. So I like to know what is the rate. So when I use what they say 25, 28, I would know how much I'm paying per use of electricity going to my house. Then you know, sometimes by us not knowing, you know, we could use, you know, some people say, well, let me limit from using a 100 watt bulb to a 60 watt bulb. Or washing my clothes as much. That causes a slowdown in my uses in my household. See, we just look at the bill. We just look at the bill. And where I got that concept from was a New Jersey governor, the sworn in New Jersey governor this year, won the election. She put a cap on the kilowatts to the energy company up there, that all the households in New Jersey. She put a cap on it. Maybe a cap, you could say. And all y'all got districts, is the districts the same per rate. So all this needs to be discussed.
What do you want to answer?
Well, what I was gonna do, I was gonna recommend that you call our city manager and she can kind of go over some things with you.
Or you can come see me tomorrow, you're more than welcome to come see me.
Okay,
And she'll take care of those answers for you. Questions?
okay, those two questions too. All right.
There's a good answer for both of them, I know.
No, I'm just saying, it's something that you need to just look at, you know, like I said, when she put it in my mind, and I said, you know what, in New Jersey, it's snow heavy. So she said, well, let me check with this energy company, how much they charge about it. And let me put a cap on it, and did what she did, she put a cap on it. Maybe we could put a cap on that, this is what.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Biggs, I just want to say, thank you for raising the question, which I think is a valid question. And please know that those questions have been taken into consideration. And definitely, I know myself will be reaching out, make sure that you understand what is going on, though. And look forward to some future action being taken within our district as well, too.
Right, okay.
Because your voice will be heard.
Yeah.
And to add on to your, this was the piece on caps, the capping of rates. Like we took some action to try and do that, and we lowered the PCA rate.
Right.
But a majority of members on this council most recently decided to increase that. So the city has tried to take some of those measures to set some checks and balances.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on what the majority of this council wants to do.
But that is right, because, you know, because it goes up during the winter. You know, it goes up.
Yes, sir.
And in the summertime, it's less, you know what I'm saying?
That's correct. We do have some stories.
So now you got different rates, so I like to know. What is the rate in the winter, where is the rate in the summer, you know? So I know what I'm paying. So when I look at my usage, I can say, well, hey, this is what I'm looking to pay. And I think that all of us in the city of Camilla, which would be good for y'all to know just as well. You know, because you don't want no electric company overcharging y'all for the electricity provided for the city of Camilla. You're welcome.
Any other speaker appearance at this time?
Mayor Pro Tem Burley, council members, my name is Martha Bateman, 4242 West Harvey Heights. Last month, when we were here, there seemed to be quite a concern because a member of the council was provided electricity by EMC rather than the city. A statement was made that the members should not be on the council voting for electrical rates because of that. I would like to provide a little clarification on this issue. I did some research. Under the Georgia Territorial Electric Service Act of 1973, the state is divided exclusive service territories assigned to specific providers. Georgia Power, the electric membership cooperatives, which will be EMCs, or the municipal system. Your provider is determined by your location. Residential customers cannot shop or switch electricity providers. You are served by the utility assigned to your address. The only exception is for large customers with a connected load of 900 kilowatts or greater, which allows for a one-time choice of supply. The act was designed to ensure efficient, economical, and orderly retail electric service while reducing duplication of lines. The act also protects the rights of the suppliers to serve areas they were already serving prior to the act. Now, Camilla does have several areas where EMC provides the electricity. If you are interested in those areas and you do not know where they are, I have a map. I can share that information with you after we get through here. That's the first part. The second part, which I'm sure everybody in this room knows, but maybe some in Facebook land do not know, to qualify as a city council member in the city of Camilla, a candidate must reside in their specific district for at least 12 months immediately preceding the election. They must maintain residency throughout their term, and they must be a registered voter. There is no requirement regarding a member having city-provided power, nor a member paying property taxes. I just wanted to sort of bring this out, just to reiterate what is there, and I hope that this will put these issues to rest. Thank you for your attention.
Ms. Bailey,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
would you agree with me, just because something is legal doesn't mean that it's morally correct or morally ethics to do?
Well, in some cases, maybe not, but this one certainly.
I think in some cases.
In some cases, maybe so. But if it's legal, it's supposed to be done. And this is, people were sort of putting off the, oh, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that because you're, where your electricity is provided. You have no choice on that.
But we are a great body of believers,
Yeah.
a great body of believers. And
Well,
we strive to do all the correct things, that our purpose shows our likeness in our walk with Jesus. But yet we sit here and want to pour water on that just because something may be legally, that it's not nothing wrong morally or ethical with that situation. Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm saying
I
that,
just want to make sure.
I'm saying, and let's just get this straight for everybody out there, thanks for playing, and everybody else. I'm saying that this law says that you do not have the choice. It is that when it was decided in 1973, that all that needs to be said about this. You can sit there and say all you want to about anything else you want to make it sound like it's something else. But this is the law, and this is the way it should be, and this is what y'all should adhere to, and you should stop this chaos. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bateman. Any other speaker appearance at this time?
Just the idea that it's pettiness when we're talking about lives, people's lives being affected by decisions that are made around this board, and then the disingenuous of some members. It's just, kind of mind-wrapping with me that we feel that it's pettiness now, instead of when we're dealing with lives.
Do I get
We're
you?
not gonna go back and
Okay,
forth about that.
thank you.
Council, we're gonna move forward. Any other speaker appearance at this time? All right, hearing none, we're gonna move right along on our, agenda for tonight, and we're going to, come to the portion of a public hearing, and our public hearing is going to be for the 2026 Community Development Block Grant. And a hearing has been duly advertised to discuss and make the public aware that the city is considering requesting a Community Development Block Grant, which is CDBG, up to $1 million from the Department of Community Affairs, which is DCA. And these funds must be primarily used to benefit low and moderate income people. These funds can be used for actively in the areas of housing, public facilities, including water, sewage, street and drainage, and economic development. This public hearing is for citizens to ask questions to provide comments. So at this time, I'm going to open our public hearing, and we are going to open the public hearing now. Our public hearing is open, and do we have any citizens that would like to comment on this project?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Go ahead, ma'am.
could you all vote to open the floor for public hearing, please?
All right, could I get a,
You can just take a motion
Motion.
to open the floor for public hearing, yeah.
yes, could I get a motion, council, to open our public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All right, it has been motion and second. All those in favor, show of hands. All those opposed, same sign. And now at this time, our public hearing is open. Thank you, Madam Attorney. Is there any,
Well,
there any citizens like to comment on our public hearing? Okay. Ms. Earl, we'd like to have you to come forward to the podium. And this is our grant writer for our CDBG.
Hi, I'm Sarah Rowley with Sindoh Consulting. I appreciate you guys choosing to work with me on the project. I'm excited to work with everybody. I'm here to answer questions if there were any about the CDBG program, but to help out and hopefully get a lot more feedback from the community, I've actually created an online survey that anyone in the community can go to, and have created some flyers and QR code to make it easier. There's a direct link spelled out here. And I'm gonna send that to Cheryl so she can get on this website. And it just asks questions about any problems people have, so that, you know, people will get the feedback and let us know where the problems are, so that you know that the project you're doing or what the community wants. So, anyway, any questions for me?
Do you write the grant for new projects, or is it allowed to spend money on things, a project that's already existing?
For CDBG, it is a new project, new application. I know there are some programs out there, you know, you have work that's ongoing, needs extra funding, that might be a possibility, but typically with CDBG, it's gonna be a new project. It could be a phase of a project that you've already started, but it would have to stand on its own.
How long were we seeking community feedback?
I've set it to the end of March. Applications are due on April 10th this year. So that would give us time, if anybody does comment, that we can incorporate that, and, you know, with their permission, to include any feedback we get in the application. So.
And then, maybe also for Ms. Ford, how, I guess, where does this play in with the Plan First designation? Is this an opportunity now to?
You know, with Plan First, we can apply for CDBG every year, but you still have to meet a certain threshold of completion to be eligible. Not sure how quick this project will go. It might really go quick enough that we can find ourselves in a position where we can apply back to back.
So for a back-to-back application, you have to have a year, when you're typically you can apply every 2 years, and your previous project has to be 100% complete for you to apply the next round by a certain deadline, it's in June. But if you apply back to back, you have to have a certain percentage of your funds spent for your next application. It's not 100%. So that would be a really quick timeline on most city projects. So.
And that was gonna be my next question is, because we already have projects in, we done? Okay. I was gonna ask that question because I knew that there would be a percentage that had to be completed before, the next round, but thank you.
So while Sarah's still up there, I had sent y'all out a target map to, if y'all can tell me whether or not y'all had any, living in the target area that was available. Everybody look at it.
That's an area we were looking at. It might not be the final area, but to just get an idea, if there are people living in the target area, whether it's a council member or an immediate family member, they call those a conflict of interest. You have to disclose those to make sure, nobody's getting any special services. DCA wants to know about it. Nobody gets anything more than anybody else in that area. So that's typically what is needed. So we just need to know so we can make sure to disclose that in the application.
All right.
And I also pointed out that we'll be adopting a resolution on the agenda a little bit later on. If y'all do meet the criteria, let's have a conflict, then you won't need to vote on the resolution. So y'all make sure you look at that map and say whether or not meet the criteria we have on the
All right, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, we have comment.
Just a question. For those of you that might live in that area that qualify, is there an income requirement?
So,
Would that be on the
70% of the residents in an identified area have to qualify as low or moderate income. The federal government sets what those limits are. Typically, door-to-door surveys are done to ask people, in your household and approximate income. So that is something that you have to do to even qualify to apply for the funds. So, good question.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Any other comments from the public? Any comment from the council? As we look at our map, we just want to make sure we're, the target area here, let's make sure everyone's good on there. All right. Once again, any other citizen would like to come up and speak on the public hearing? All right. Hearing none, could I get a motion to close our public hearing?
Motion to host the hearing?
Second.
All right. It has been motioned and second. All those in favor, show hands. All those opposed, same sign. That motion has been carried and our public hearing is closed. Thank you, citizens, and thank you, council. All right, we're gonna move right along on the agenda for tonight, and we have two presentations. And first of all, we're gonna have our first presentation by our MEAG representative, which is Mr. Julian Brown. And he is going to be presenting MEAG's 10-year forecast. And good to have you on tonight, Mr. Brown. And at this time, I will turn it over. I see Mr. Steve is on there with you as well. So we're going to turn it over into y'all's hand, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Again, my name is Julian Brown. I am the South Georgia Regional Manager for MEAG Power. I apologize that I could not be there in person. I'm your neighbor. I live in Cairo, but work took me out of town this evening. I think it was 2 weeks ago, Cheryl and I went over the 10-year forecast. After we discussed, she asked if MEAG could come present at this work session. And so you're very lucky this evening because our Chief Operating Officer, Steve Jackson, has also made himself available. And Steve has actually put together a short presentation that I think will make it more clear. I know when I go over with Cheryl, looking at it might come off a little confusing. So again, Steve has put together a presentation that I think will make it more clear. And at this point, I am going to pass it over to MEAG's Chief Operating Officer, Steve Jackson.
Thank you, Julian, and good evening, everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you this evening. I do have a short discussion of our 10-year forecast for the city of Camilla that I would like to provide to you. So I'm going to share my screen at this time, and hopefully there we go. I hope this text has come through well. Let's see if I can make it full screen here. All right, hopefully you all can see that. If you have any issue with that, please let me know. As Julian mentioned, we do produce, MEAG Power does produce each year a 10-year forward look at our cost to you for electric service. And that, again, just as a reminder, that is at the wholesale level. So in addition to MEAG Power's cost, then you have other costs of operating your electric system. And when you set your system rates have to be considered as well. But we do this forecast in order to reflect future trends in wholesale generation costs, and that wholesale cost includes the cost of the generation resources, cost of transmission, the high voltage transmission system, supplemental power, which is, I'll describe in more detail, but it's power that is either out of the wholesale market, it's generally out of the wholesale market. And then we also reflect in our forecast the power that you receive from the Southeastern Power Administration, the hydroelectric power that you receive from the Corps of Engineers or federal power dams in the state. But when we look at the cost of generation in this study, it includes two different types of costs, and they are split out in the study. If you look at the details of the study, we always stick to variable costs, which are those costs that are needed to directly generate the electric power. Generally, that's going to be the cost of fuel, whether it's coal or natural gas or the cost of nuclear fuel. There's other chemicals that help maintain environmental compliance and other operational requirements, and other types of operational maintenance costs that are really directly related to making the power. And those costs increase or decrease based on how much generation you have or how much power you make out of a particular generating unit. Then we also have a set of costs called fixed costs. A big part of those costs are the debt service payments on MEAG Power bonds that have been issued to finance the acquisition of the generation. Renewable replacement funds, which are funds we need to invest in and keep the plant in good operating order. And of course, the cost, our cost of the staff and other operation and maintenance costs for the generation unit. So you'll hear, when you look at the details of the 10-year forecast, you'll see that variable costs and fixed costs throughout the study. So in addition to generation costs, we also have transmission costs included, and that is the cost to own and operate the grid in the state, our share of the grid in the state. But also for your study, it has the cost of the local substation feeders that connect to your distribution system. And so MEAG Power maintains those feeders on your behalf, but does charge you a fee for the maintenance of those studies, maintenance of those, facilities, and that cost is reflected in this study as well. So there is, as we mentioned, a section in this study called supplemental power costs. And in that section of the study, it reflects purchases that you may be making or sales that you may make of power into or from the wholesale market. And also there's other resources that are not owned by MEAG Power that you receive power from. And they're called, generally we call those purchase power resources. And you'll see on the next slide, in this case, you're receiving some output from the solar facility that's just coming online this year, and hopefully will be in full operation in another month or so. And then, as I mentioned, you see the cost of your hydroelectric power from SEPA. Again, it is also reflected as variable and fixed, and then there's also a transmission cost component of that. So we go through a study process, come up with a projection of the cost of power. And again, this is a projection, this is not a budget. And we do produce an annual budget for you that addresses a single year. And it goes under a great deal of scrutiny and a much higher review than this 10-year forecast. But we do want to provide this 10-year forecast to support you looking at, long-term cost trends for your community, but also to assist you in looking at setting rates based on these future trends. So throughout the study, we talk about projects, and I just wanted to relate what a project means to the actual generating resources that you receive energy from. So we talk about project one in the study, and that is comprised of 4 nuclear units, Hatch units 1 and 2, Vogtle units 1 and 2. It's also includes the coal generation from Plant Share units 1 and 2, and also the transmission facilities are considered part of project 1. And project 1 was an agreement that was put in place, a contract that we have with the city of Camilla, the project 1 contract or power sales contract, where the city committed to pay the cost of a share of these generating resources. And so under that, you'll hear us speak from time to time to the project 1 power sales contract. And so that contract addresses the benefits and the outputs that you receive from these units and your commitment to pay the cost of those. Similarly, we have additional projects. Project 2 includes some additional ownership of the coal units, as well as project 3. And project 4 includes some additional ownership share of Vogtle units 1 and 2. Our newer projects are the combined cycle project, which, just as it reflects, includes the Wansley Unit 9 combined cycle plant that operates on natural gas. And then also, most recently, Project M, which includes a share of Vogtle Units 3 and 4. So, and again, all of these projects have power sales contracts associated with them. And then finally, supplemental power is, as I mentioned, power that's outside of the generating resources owned by MEAG. In this case, the city has agreed to take on a share of the solar output for the Findee Solar Project. So what do we do in this study? So we go through a process where we model the operation of the system over 10 years. So we go in and we look at key components that may change over time that would impact the cost of the generating resources and ultimately the cost to you. So, example, market prices for power in the wholesale market, those may dictate the prices of purchases you make or the economic dispatch of the generating resources. Of course, fuel costs are a big component, and those do change over time, particularly natural gas. Coal is not as a variable. Fortunately, nuclear fuel costs are very stable over the 10 years. Operating and maintenance costs may change depending on if we have to take the units offline for maintenance in certain years. Those costs will be higher in those years where we're either refueling the nuclear units or doing major maintenance on units. And then interest rate can impact your costs. And of course, we also need to look at these costs and how they cover the units and how they cover the demand for the system or the capacity or demand, the megawatts or kilowatt requirement, and then the energy, which is the megawatt hours or kilowatt hours of the system. So we have projections of what the needs are on the system, and then we dispatch the system or operate the system to serve those needs. Excuse me. So through that process, we determine the generating cost based on this modeling. It's primarily the variable piece of those costs. But then also we look longer term at the fixed costs in particular. We have certain forecasts of debt payments that we need to make, or there may be other costs like personnel costs that are inflated over that time period. But altogether, we forecast all of these costs, and then we combine those together and allocate those costs to the city of Camilla to come up with a specific forecast of your cost from MEAG Power over the 10 years. So this table here provides a summary of the 10-year forecast for the city of Camilla. And I apologize, I just realized we don't have the years on here. But the first year of numbers is 2026. And these are the annual numbers through 2036. But you can see on this table, the total power cost, including your SEPA power, for the city of Camilla. You can see it varies from slightly from year to year. And again, that can be based on the cost of fuel for the year, or whether we have maintenance requirements on some of the units. So you'll see some variability in the cost over the years, and ultimately somewhat an increasing cost over time. You'll also see the amount of megawatt hours that are produced for the city's needs. Over those 12 years, you can see that's very stable for the city. And then ultimately, your power cost projection based on a cents per kilowatt hour basis. And again, starting at about 8.4 cents and then increasing slightly as you go up to about 9.3 cents at the end of the study. Part of that is reflecting that after, at the very end of the study period, the tax credits that are available for the Vogtle Units 3 and 4 costs expire after 8 years of operation. The first 8 years of operations of the units, so those credits do expire in the 2031, 2032 timeframe. So that is one reason that you see your cost increase as we go into those outer years of the forecast. So this is just a high-level overview of the type of study that we're doing and the results for the city. That's what I wanted to cover, and I'm just I'll make myself now available to ask any questions or try to provide any clarity that I can on the study that we have done for the city. We do these for all 49 of the MEAG communities each year in order to help you in planning for your system.
Okay, is there any questions for Mr. Steve Jackson? So, Mr. Jackson, as I look back, are we using or paying 8.34 kilowatts?
I'm sorry, did you say looking back?
Yeah, I'm
Prior
looking
year?
yeah, I'm looking for this year, for the year of 2026.
Yeah, for the year 2026, your expected cost is the 8.395 cents per kilowatt hour. That's what is MEAG's budget for the city of Camilla for the year. Now, I will mention this is a budget, and, certainly we try to, reduce costs over the year as much as possible. So, depending on how the year plays out, your actual cost may be, hopefully, from a MEAG perspective, lower than that, but it can vary versus that budgeted number.
Can we pay you by the month?
Yes, you have a monthly bill from MEAG Power that reflects the operation of the generating unit for that month. And also, if there was any sales that you made into the wholesale market or any purchases you made out of the wholesale market, yes, MEAG provides you a monthly bill that details out all the costs for the city for that month. And I will mention, we do just charge you costs. MEAG Power has no profit motive, we're not for profit. And so, we just pass through to you the cost reflected with your commitment to the various generating resources.
Is there any other question of the council?
Mr. West, on that question, where would you find that information from?
It was on this last slide there, the total power cost up on the supplement. That last slide is actually on
In our package?
yes, it's not
it's
on
not
that
in the
package,
package.
but it is on, well, if you look at your last sheet there, and at the very bottom, the total projected supplements as the kilowatts total power, and it gives you year to year of what the kilowatts are for that.
Mayor Pro Tem, line 103.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And you will see that.
It's from Friday. Let's see what that made it is. February 27th. That's when she sent it to us.
They talk about the email?
The report, it's on a different email. But if you check your email for February 27th, it's an attachment, it's page 4.
Oh, I'm aware.
Oh, you done? Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Any other comments? Well, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Brown, we appreciate you being here and discussing that with us, and we thank you for everything that you do with us with MEAG, okay? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving now to our next presentation, and we're going to have our stormwater drain study, and Mr. Jim from York Wright Associates will come up and discuss that with us.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Burley, council members. Appreciate being here and presenting this report to y'all and taking any questions that you have. I think you've got the reports. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of detail, but I'll try to go through it and if you have questions, come back on. But we were tasked to look at 3 areas. One area was McRae Drive and McDonald Street. And this is basically a bowl that you've got at that intersection. And there's 3, possibly 4 drop inlets there, and the water just goes in a loop between those and it goes nowhere. So our proposed method of handling that is to put 4 drop inlets on each corner of the intersection. It's very shallow, so we use arch pipe. and then take that arch pipe and go down until we get a little more cover, and go south with it and take it down to the ditch that you've got to the south of Andrews Street. And the cost for that, estimated construction cost for that is $213,000. Next area that we were tasked to look at was the Morgan Street neighborhood, which is the area where the new gymnasium is being built, as well as the Boys and Girls Club. And then there's a lot of flooding that goes on throughout that neighborhood between Scott and Harney Street. So, some of this area, you've got, the old community was built on a hill here around Broad Street, and then as you start going south, you come dropping off of the hill, and it flattens out around Spence Street, and that is where also where all your flooding begins, right there. So, the proposed design for that is to basically run parallel pipes from Spence Street down, have to go across some property there between Morgan Street and Cochran Street. That requires some easements, and then run a 48-inch diameter pipe on the south side of Cochran Street, take it back over under Boulevard and empty into the ditch that's there. And the estimated construction cost for that is $1,395,000.
The line, that's Morgan Street right there, correct? It's not marked. Is that, that's Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And there's, it should have been 11 by 17, you should have also.
I just want, I wanted to make sure I had that, but I thought that's the street. So the new gym is
Yeah, right
here.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha. Okay. That's what I was just trying to get it around. I knew it went that way.
Question, you gonna run your pipe down Cochran Street or Morgan Street?
We would,
Going west.
we would go down Cochran Street.
So you got to go from, the Spence Street area over to Cochran.
Yes, sir.
You got to push it uphill, right?
No, sir, it would be down.
Oh, you don't, okay, you get deep in.
It's not that, it's not extremely deep. On Cochran Street, yes, it'll be probably about 7 feet deep. There. And then at the beginning up around Morgan Street, that intersection at Harney and Morgan Street is very, very shallow. So I can't even get a pipe with any cover through that little intersection. That's why we would go get an easement from, my numbers here, from 21 Morgan Street and 212 Harney Street, and that would get us back to Cochran Street, and we'd have enough depth there to go. And that's not a bad depth when going down Cochran's not an extreme depth.
What was that Harney Street?
Harney Street address?
The Harney Street address is 212.
Is that what the problem was?
And the problems over here.
But we had a line, so not too long ago.
The house on Morgan Street is in between Perry Street and Harney Street. That's a low area. There's 19, I mean,
Yeah.
storm cases around there. And so, what the project's doing, when he goes down Cochran, it's increasing that flow rate and volume of flow to the slip. By adding Cochran, there's already more. So.
The next area, or the last area we were tasked to look at was the New Street neighborhood. And this is an area that's not much, it's very shallow for running pipes through there. And so it looks like the area was built up over the years, additional areas were added to it. So it was not practical to run parallel pipes through this area because we wind up with so many 18-inch pipes right next to each other, it would take up the entire right of way of Butler Street. So the solution for this was to intercept all the flow north of MLK, which would take it all the way back to Washington Street, and the east side of Peachtree Street also flows in a northeasterly direction. So it's a large area. So anyway, we go ahead and intercept that at MLK, and then take that actually north to the existing ditch that is, north of the, housing authority area. This line would be a 42-inch line. It would be laid in grass. There'd be no utilities to have to deal with, so construction costs would go down. No pavement to deal with or anything like that. So that would cut half of the, usually half of the flow that would be coming. So it's the most economical. Then we have the Sunset Circle area. Looked like at some point in time it had been added to the coming into the south side of Newton Street. So at Newton Street, you have an existing 24-inch pipe on the north side of Newton Street. We would upgrade that to a 36 and a 42-inch, and then take it back to the same outfall on the west side of Newton Street. The estimated construction cost for that is $996,000. Thank you.
Will this CDBG eligible?
They actually are.
That was not, just like,
Yeah, looking at the neighborhoods, you'd have to get surveyed, just looking at neighborhoods.
That be included in the application.
That would be separate. We want to have the funds, because, I mean, it's $1 million in one of these projects. So, you can do a multi-activity CDBG, and it only adds $2,500, it's not much. So I would do it separate. Completely separate.
They qualify for G as well. Yeah, they're definitely CDBG.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I like the CDBG.
I know where you're coming from. I agree with you. I just,
And being the target area for the CD, work is already in the area of Newton Street. All that area, is what I'm looking at. That's already the target area for it, so.
Potential target area.
Potential.
But yeah, that's a service line inventory replacement program, it's a new one that we're gonna do this year. So we'll just have to rush through it, because we can do them back to back, obviously. I mean, we got Ted back there, and we're gonna make sure he understands when we rush.
Right. Chad is right on the outside, so we know Chad can do some great things.
We got a long way to do.
All right, any other comment for Jim?
Are you aware of any other potential funding sources besides G and CDBG?
that's it. And local.
I will say this, and pretend that, these three areas are the most critical that we identified, and they need to be priority to get done.
I'll go ahead and throw out the fourth area that probably needs studying as y'all get into this, but the area from Boulevard back to Fuller Street, you've got that ditch, and then you have 3 36-inch pipes that go under Fuller Street. And that also is shown up on your flood map as it really stages above Fuller Street. And so I went ahead and looked at the 3 pipes under Fuller Street. You actually have a reverse slope. It looks like they were trying to miss the gravity sewer line that goes through there. So those 3, the inflow coming in above it has a 60-inch, so you got 3 30 inches on the outside of it. On the upside of the ditch, you have a 60-inch, 2 48 inches, a 36-inch, and a 30-inch. So you've got a lot more coming in that ditch than you've got capacity for those 3 to take out. And I think it's part of the reason I couldn't get any stages from FEMA. They just showing it on the map. They had no calculator, no digital information to look at. But that ditch needs to be wide. It needs to be widened. I would probably try to pave it if I could, because that's going to lower your maintenance cost in the future. And it'll also keep your width down on that ditch. And that's 3 36-inch culverts. They really need to go to a much larger box culvert. And so, as y'all think about things in the future, I would do that.
Is it gonna be able to handle all this water off of, Morgan and, the creeks? They're gonna be able to handle it what's there now?
No, we won't be adding any more water. This will not add any more water. It's just going to get it there faster. Is what it's saying.
That
Yeah.
could be a problem.
Oh, sure. But it's already, all that's already in the 100-year floodplain down there, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, so you get this one done, you might want to do that one the very next
Sounds like it
project.
needs to be number 4 then.
Yes.
And I want to add, just so it's not a surprise, that sluice at capacity, the McCree bowl will still flood, it's under the sluice. So, yeah, that would drain it faster, but if the sluice fills up, then that bowl still won't have water in it. Which is just by pitch elevation. I mean, the pipes will be full from that. There's nothing we can do about that intersection.
It's kind of like you get a 100-year flood, that area's
Yeah.
gonna flood too, it's the same thing.
The only way to mitigate that is increase sluice volume and outflow volume. So,
All right, thank you very much.
Thank y'all for having me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move right along on the agenda tonight. We're gonna get into our discussion items, and our first discussion item is the airport perimeter fencing bid awarded to Pastoral, and their premier wildlife fencing construction. As you see, it's $803,716.38, or $628,548.78. Also, we have the Premier Wildlife Fencing Consulting Services, which is $116,400. Also, the ALP Update Consulting Services, which is $230,000 estimated, subject to outcome of fencing, IFE. So, at this time, Logan? Okay, all right, Logan, we're gonna turn it over to you to give us some description on this fencing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, everybody. Tonight's agenda item is first and foremost to award the construction contract to Delta Specialty Contractors. They were the apparent low bidder and responsible on both schedules of work. The difference in the two schedules, Schedule 1 contains all chain link fencing material, and Schedule 2 contains some chain link fencing around well-trafficked areas, and then a lesser quality wildlife fencing, different FAA specification for the remainder of the area. And GDOT has indicated that they would like to participate in Schedule 1, subject to funding availability, and they plan to finalize that in the coming weeks, as they also approve the ALP scope of work and Patchworth's construction phase services for the $116,000 that was mentioned. Ultimately, I believe tonight we need a decision on the award of the project to the contractor, and then after we get you guys approval of Patchworth's scope for the construction phase services and the fencing project and the ALP update project, we could get those on a future agenda if needed there as well. So, and I will just mention that the total construction dollars that are shown on Patchworth's recommendation of award letter that I believe you have a hard copy of in front of you. That's the total project cost. The city's share would be lesser, depending on the funding sources that are used. You typically see 5% match on federally eligible projects, which this is. So that 800 and apologies, I had the wrong tab. That 803,000 and 628,000. That's total project cost. So just keep that in mind. Are there any questions, or I can elaborate on any of the above, anything we just mentioned, so.
So Logan, I'm looking at the email that we got from Ronnie Hall, and he's telling, or he estimated, I guess, using his best estimate, for the project total, the federal funding amount is 92.5%. Which if we go with the Schedule 1, it's looking like it's about $88,000 in local funds. Have you got that email?
I do. I believe Ronnie put that together based on estimated costs. I think that would be the maximum amount of money the city would have to commit as their local share. It could be less depending on the funding breakdown structure. There are two items in those schedules that work for the same for those schedules, the automatic gate items that are not federally eligible for funding, and they would be 100% city costs, so that does drive the share up, but that's factored into the total that Ronnie has presented. So after we finalize this grant, we would have exact final numbers of the city share. But sure, I think that 88,000 you mentioned would be a maximum cost, and the city share should be that or less.
So are you referring to the electronic gate?
Yes, ma'am. It's
100%?
the electronic gate. There's a sliding cantilever gate, 24 foot. That's the physical gate itself, and then there's an item for the gate operator, the electrical component that opens and closes it.
So would it be safe to say if we go with Schedule 1, which was the highest cost, that the city cost would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000, just so they would have a kind of point of reference as to what city match would be?
Yes, ma'am. I would believe it should be under that figure.
So as we discussed earlier today, were we gonna start, would the recommendation be to start with Schedule 1, and depending on what the GDOT funding, it will be contingent upon GDOT funding, we may have to scale down to go to Schedule 2?
That's correct, yep.
Cheryl, Schedule 1, that's, chain link fence.
Is it all chain link loading?
Schedule 1 is, yes.
Okay, and Schedule 2 is woven wire, that like the legal way out the grid.
Yes, I believe the question was Schedule 2 is woven wire. That is correct. Part of the fencing would be woven wire. The part adjacent to the terminal and hangar areas would still be chain link fencing, just to sort of deter anybody from trying to get over that fence. Both fencing materials will also have a barbed wire strand, 3 strands of barbed wire rather around the top. But the woven wire fabric is a little more conducive to climbing if a human wanted to try to get in. Also, yeah, this fence is sort of serving a dual purpose. It's mainly for wildlife, but also secures our airport from trespassers that shouldn't be out there. So.
Let me ask you another question, is this going to, I know chain link fence will be, meet any insurance requirements as far as, people parking planes there and preventing damage. I question the woven wire, whether that would meet the insurance requirements.
That I'm not sure. You're referring to the insurance of the aircraft owners?
Yes.
Yeah, that I'm not sure of. We may be able to ask some of those folks what their policies specify to find out if that would be an advantage.
I know that's some of the reasons right now that we don't, some people, a lot of people do not leave their planes there because of the security. We don't have a perimeter fence.
Understood. Yep. That would definitely be a positive for Schedule 1 then on the pros and cons list.
Do you happen to have a recommendation as to chain link or woven wire?
We do recommend the chain link fabric. We think it's more durable. The other thing that I'll note is GDOT typically only participates in projects one time, and then the airport would be expected to maintain that project through its useful life. So for all intents and purposes, this is the only fence they're going to participate in paying for a while. So we definitely think it's more advantageous for the city to install the better quality fence up front, knowing that it's going to last you a good long time.
The posts on woven wire, are they wooden?
No, we did still specify steel posts, just so there's less maintenance with rotting and things like that in the future. Everything is apples to apples across the project, except for the fabric of fencing itself. Everything else is the same.
So it would still be the same height, it would just be a different type of fence.
Yes, that's correct.
Sure, where would these additional city funds, where would they come from?
I'm sorry.
We would have to budget them in. I mean, how quick do you think the project would start, Logan? I was gonna ask you when you thought we might hear from GDOT to know how much funding we're gonna get.
I believe you should hear from GDOT in the next 2 weeks. I think once Ronnie has all the scoping work, all the independent fee estimates and everything back, and I know you sent him some of that today to finalize that, he should be able to pull those numbers together next to the grant in the next couple of weeks. And as far as when the construction project would start, the contractor was required per the bid documents to hold their prices for 120 days from bid opening. So we're still well within that period. I would think we would get to contract as soon as a grant is executed by GDOT, and then the city executes the contract with the contractor. And I would think they would probably start, within a month after that time. So it's beginning of March. I would say by, end of April, early May, they would likely be started.
You know what their estimated completion time would be?
Their construction duration, I believe, is 90 or 120 days. Let me check here really quick. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Let's see. I apologize, I should have that pulled up ahead of time.
To answer your question, Leslie, I'll get to see it over with the city.
But it should go on the transportation.
Cheryl, that was 120 calendar days, so just 4 months.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, at the council meeting next week, we're gonna be selecting the consultant. You recommend to go with Schedule 1 contingent upon GDOT funding. We're also gonna have to do your consultant services at the same time.
Yes, I believe that's the best path forward. If the consultant services has to wait one more month for the next council session, I think that would be okay. But if we can get it in next time or next week, I think that would be preferred. And I think we have done the negotiation process with GDOT on that contract. So that 116,400 should be final.
So, but there again, I mean, we're looking at a 2-week window for GDOT to get back with us to tell us what our funding amounts are gonna be. But I guess we can do all this contingent, so yeah, that should work.
Well, if council would prefer, we can certainly wait till GDOT has all that squared away and finalized. But that's totally up to you. I'll just defer what you prefer there.
We can go ahead with the bid award.
Yes, sir.
We need to get those documents executed. We have a 120-day window, and I don't want to lose any more ground on that.
Yep, I would agree. That's a good approach.
All right, Logan, we appreciate your presentation there. Is there any other questions or comments that council have for Logan before we let him go?
I don't have a comment for Logan, but just a comment to just the general, this is why we had a mayor sitting in a place where he was sitting. The recommendation made by the mayor that we add T-Splosh to the airport. That's the forward thinking, visionary thinking that was coming from this desk. Now that we can use those funds, we can use that funding source, T-Splosh, for projects just such as this. That's forward thinking, that's visionary. It's just thinking ahead. That's that, not being reactive, but proactive. Forecasting what is down the road, trying to make Camilla better. That's the leadership. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Logan. We appreciate you there. All right.
Thank you, Council.
So at this time, do I at least have 3 council members to move this forward to the airport permit fencing bidding award, so we can go ahead and get the process started. All right, it'll be on our Monday night meeting. Thank you, Councilor. All right, we're gonna move right along now to our next discussion item, and this is J Mark's J Food Marts, 165 North Harney Street, and it's up under new management. They're requesting beer license and wine license. We know that, if you see, we know that he has been cleared through the chief of police and their duties there. I'd like to get 3 council members to have this as an action item on next week's meeting. All right, thank you, council. Also, we have our proclamation, and the proclamation is for Girl Scouts of today, and we would like to present this to the Girl Scouts, and this proclamation, if we have 3 council members to move this, we'll read this into the minutes for next week. If we have 3 council members like to see this on the agenda for next week. All right. Okay, thank you, council. And this will be their 114th anniversary as well for the Girl Scouts of America. Okay, all right, we move down to our next item. There's the 2026 Community Funding Project, and Councilman Morgan has this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. This is in relation to the federal appropriations process. They have just released, or maybe 2 weeks ago, released information on how constituents and communities and entities could apply for eligible funding. Last year, we did receive an update from our fire chief regarding the status of our ladder truck and fire engine. And so this year, the city of Camilla is submitting an application to be considered for federal appropriations. In the specific project we identified was again the fire apparatus and the new ladder truck for our fire department. And just a background on the federal appropriated funding, they provide a direct pathway for eligible entities to secure federal resources for projects that strengthen neighborhoods, improve infrastructure, expand opportunity, and enhance quality of life throughout the district. Again, this allows communities just to have additional resources that gets put into the federal budget. So, and then after hearing a few of these projects tonight too, the federal appropriations process begins another avenue that I believe we have to make sure that we get some of these infrastructure projects completed. Just wanted to give special thanks to our fire chief, Nurse County School System, Ms. Ford, and all the staff at City Hall that just helped see that application through its finish line and getting those submitted to both Senator Ossoff's office and Congressman Sessions. No other feedback here unless Ms. Ford.
I haven't heard back yet.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, thank you for that, Councilman Morgan. Okay, we're gonna move right along on our agenda for tonight, and as was mentioned earlier, there is a resolution for the CDBG application submission, and we have the resolution 2026-03-09-1, and we would like to for the city of Camilla to submit the application to obtain the fiscal year 2026 community block grant CSBG funds for the water system improvement. We'd like to get 3 council members to see this on our agenda for Monday night. Okay. All right. Thank you, council, and that will appear on our agenda for an action item on next week. All right, is there any other comments from our council members? This brings us down to the end of other. First, I'm gonna go around the table. Councilman Green, do you have anything you'd like to share with the council tonight?
Just a big thank you again to our water and sewer crews, Mr. Burley, Ms. Ford and myself actually witnessed them for many, many hours fixing the problem over at Fourth Street, and they did an excellent job. With the Band-Aid, I think that somebody else came in and like totally fixed it, but again, I had never seen them work hands-on like that, and I was very impressed. I just, my hat goes off to what a great job that our water and sewer workers did.
All right, thank you. Councilman Morgan. Councilman Collins. Councilman Pollock.
Yes, down at Springline, giving thanks and kudos, just wanted to say, in that same night that we had those issues with the water, on Fuller Street, there was also a house fire that, took place on Butler Street in District 1. And just wanted to give a shout out to our Camilla Camilla Fire Department, Mitchell County CI Correctional Institute, and Archer State Prison for assisting. That is the partnership when there is leadership and effective communication. We get the job done. Their captain, can't think of his name again, but the captain on the Camilla Fire Department. No, that's the chief. That's the chief.
Gonzalez was the captain.
Dennis Deal. His name is Dennis Deal. Dennis Deal.
Deal?
Yes.
Just want to make sure that we, just shout him out. He was, had worked hours, had worked his shift, previous, and he was off. But just because there was a need, he heard the need. And on his day off, he came to join his team. Talk about leadership at its finest. Talk about heart. Talk about community. Talk about safety. All of those things built inside Bill's character speak directly about our community and the fine work that can be done when we effectively communicate and is very intentional about what we do here. Those things can be achieved. So just want to shout them out, what an excellent job they did, and realize at the time that that house fire was also an employee of the city of Camilla. Look forward to having more conversation with Ms. Ford about what did we do as a city for that employee. We took care of it. That's what we do here in the city. That's how we get people to work for the city of Camilla. That's how we retain people, employees for the city of Camilla. We show that, we display that. It's not a game over here. And we should treat it as such. I give it that.
All right, Councilman Palmer.
Just want to publicly thank the water department and all the public work guys that worked on that water issue that we had over there. It was serious, and there was a hole that nobody knew about that had been watered out with a leak up in the middle of Fuller and Watt Street, big as this room right here. And they didn't know it till they got into it. But, anyway, the hard work of those guys, they were there at 10 o'clock one night. So they got us back going over there, but they deserve a lot of applause for what they did.
I'm sorry, Member Tim, I'm sorry, Miss. Of all, let me say kudos to our interim city manager, Michelle Ford, because it was all night. She was here until after 8 o'clock with that project. So just want to make sure I shout Ms. Ford out. That's leadership. That's at its finest. A city manager could have been home in her bed, didn't say, I'll just let my expertise, my employees handle their job. But before I said no, I care. I care enough not to go home and lay down and knowing that the citizen of Camilla is having an issue. Because surely she could have went home.
It was 10, and she was updating the Facebook.
8 o'clock when I had a conversation with her. But the project, as you say, went on to 10 o'clock when Ms. Ford was still here.
And she didn't leave until it was done, the Facebook page.
That exemplifies city manager. No other name. Thank you.
All right, thank you as well, Councilman Paul, for that. And also, I'd just like to kudos to all of our staff and public works. It is amazing to just see how our guys work. You don't never know what you have until you actually see them on the job, doing their job. And as you said, Ms. Ford was out there when I arrived, and she stayed out there until we all left. And even going over to Butler Street to the fire. I'm standing out there, she called me, she's on her way over there. So she did her duties as the city manager and took care of what needed to be taken care of. And we are proud of all of our staff, and everybody was safe, and that was the main thing. But we appreciate each and every one of them. And two, we thank this city as well, and two, you all, let's continue to stay in prayer, even for our country itself. For the men and women that are wearing these uniforms and families that they're leaving, just continue to keep them lifted in prayer. All right? Because we have members here, even in our own town, that is serving in the military, and some of them are being deployed as well. So just keep everybody lifted in prayer in this country, okay? All right, now this will now conclude our meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, meeting has been adjourned. Thank you, council, and thank you, public.
Oh, yeah,